Rodin believes that 3, 6, and 9 represent a flux field or a vector from the third to the fourth dimension.
This pattern here, whilst it looks like an infinity sign, what it actually is, it's something like a sine wave.
For very natural, but not just going to be detailed this time, because very bit of a quickie sketch.
A quickie sketch that is astonishingly detailed. A true-to-life snapshot of the world as the artist sees it.
Welcome back to another creepy video. I'm Jet Ski Chuck, and on these creepy waters, you want to keep your head on a straight swivel. These disturbing discoveries jumping out at you, these creepy TikToks, you don't know what's going to come at you. So let's dive in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. If this is your first time here, man, we got so many bangers you can go back and watch, man. You're in for a treat. But let's dive in, guys.
Best way to prove the existence of God is by using math. This is gonna blow your mind. Let's go ahead and play it.
Many atheists think there's no reason to believe in God because we have science to explain everything in the universe. It's true that science is able to explain the natural world, that's what it's for, but by definition, science cannot tell us whether there's anything outside or above the natural world. In other words, whether there's anything supernatural. Generally, when people speak of God, they mean a supernatural, all-knowing mind who is everywhere and can do anything. So what is math, and what does it have to do with God? Math is about numbers, and information about those numbers, and ways numbers connect to each other, but where do we find all this math? We can't see math, we can't touch math, we can't taste math. Math is only in the mind. We find it simply by thinking about it and figuring more and more things out. But wait, math also explains things. Math can explain everything from simple counting to the movement of planets. For anything you can think of, there's a bunch of math that explains what's going on, even down to the atomic level. So if math is only in our minds, but it also explains the natural world, then where does it come from? There's two possibilities, really. One is that math is just something we invented to explain what we observe in the natural world, and that would mean the origin of math is natural. But the other possibility is that math is already there because it controls the universe, and we've discovered it, and if that's true, then the origin of math is supernatural. Here's why the latter option is correct. Math contains infinite information. There's an infinite number of numbers, each with their own individual properties, and there's an infinite number of numbers in between any two numbers. And we keep discovering things. Pi, which is the number that explains the area of a circle, has an infinite number of digits that we keep discovering by doing calculations. If we were just making this stuff up, we could make pi be whatever we want it to be, but we can't do that because we know that that's not true. We know that all this information is out there somewhere, but it can't be in our physical universe because our universe is finite and math is infinite. That means math contains every possible combination of numbers, and if we use numbers as code for letters, then math contains every possible combination of letters as well. That means every book that has ever been written already exists encoded in math somewhere. In fact, every book that possibly could be written already exists in math. And if we use numbers as code for particles and their locations, then you could say there's an exact copy of our universe encoded in math. But there's also more stuff in math, so that's why math can't possibly be contained just within our universe. But that's just the beginning. There's many pieces of evidence in math to show that math has a designer. Here's an example. One time someone discovered that this simple equation makes a very interesting shape when you graph it in the complex plane, and this is called the Mandelbrot set. But people have analyzed this shape and have found some very scary things about it. What's amazing about the Mandelbrot set is that you can zoom in infinitely and you'll keep finding new things. Over here you can keep finding more and more copies of the Mandelbrot set no matter how far you zoom in. You could even zoom in really close to something like this, and it takes a while, but look, there's another little baby Mandelbrot set. Alternatively, you could go into this region and find completely different things. On the left side of this thing, you'll find these weird elephant-shaped things that have spirals that go on forever, and you could even zoom into the side of one of the spirals and find new spirals that repeat infinitely and keep generating new infinite patterns like this. Or you could go on the other side of the elephants and find these weird seahorse-shaped things that have different kinds of spirals that are connected to each other, and once again, they keep going on forever. You can zoom in infinitely, and you'll keep finding new patterns, but like I said, it's a different type of pattern. Seriously, anytime you explore the Mandelbrot set, you can find brand new things, possibly things that no human has ever seen before, because like I said, there is infinite complexity and infinite information in this one shape. That's why this little shape is so scary. We did not invent this because we discovered it by accident, but we did not discover it in our universe. It has infinite complexity, so it can't possibly be in our universe because the universe doesn't have infinites. We discovered it just by calculating it. So where the heck did this thing come from? Basic common sense says that someone designed this, but no human designed it. Like we said, math only exists in the mind, so its origin must also be a mind. Math contains infinite information, so this mind must be all-knowing. Math controls the universe, so this mind must also be all-powerful. And math is beyond and outside of our natural world, so this mind must be supernatural. And we have just described God. All these numbers and mathematical facts exist in the infinite mind of God, but it's not just mathematical truth that exists in the mind of God, but also moral truth and any kind of truth at all. Goodness, truth, and beauty are just mere opinions of the human mind, unless there is a supreme mind, God, who overrules all human opinions.
The best.
This is why Tesla has to go. Why? Because not what Tesla is saying about electricity, it's the fact that he's saying this. This is why Tesla has to go. Why? Because not what Tesla is saying about electricity, it's the fact that he's saying this should be free for everybody,
right,
everywhere.
Yeah, he wanted to have aerial electricity free for everybody like radio waves.
And the day that you say that,
that's a wrap.
It's cheaper to keep her because we make 200 billion a day, and we all agree universally you should pay for this, and we'll be in charge of selling it to you.
And we'll shut it off if you fuck around.
I actually want to pull something from the end of what Cat Williams was saying, whereas with the electricity companies, specifically General Electric, which is like the monopoly of electricity, they make $200 billion a day on something that 100 years ago, hundreds of years ago, they could have done for free through alternating current, which is what Nikola Tesla wanted to do. And then like what Joe Rogan said with the radio waves and through the atmosphere, it's just wild how these governments work just to make some money. And and they talk about how they're trying to solve all these problems, it's like you could get electricity to everybody on Earth through something that could have been invented 150 years ago.
This is why Tesla has to go. Why? Because
Keep saying it, man. We're damn near moving behind nowadays.
And this building used to power itself off the ether. These peaks right here at the top, they're called cathodes. They're all electrical conductors. That center window at the top, that's what your DNA looks like. The door is the magnetic arc. You can see right here at the top of these points right here, they got wires ran off of it. This was all free energy right here. That is not a cornerstone. This is a face stone. No mason would do that. There's going to be a cornerstone with a date and a maker's mark in the foundation. This was built in 900 AD. They added 1,000 years to everything. My father was a stonemason. Look at the weathering on this building. Just look at the weathering on the structure alone. This is 1,000 years worth of weathering. They ran this wire up at the top off the copper railing. This all goes up to one of them cathodes. You could see they poured this concrete right here next to the building. This is not a foundation. This is the next tier up. Look at the brick laid across. See how it goes down? These are all tiers. There is not a cornerstone on any corner of this building. You can see this lower ramp. This all goes down. They put these walls right here to cover up the brick, well, the stone that they laid. This goes down. These are what the stained glass windows are supposed to look like before they take them out. This is the artificial energy unit that they put on it. This used to be steps going up to the church. They closed this off and bricked it in. And this building used to power itself off the ether.
And if you guys haven't seen my other video about the catacombs, man, I'm starting to think every building like this might have a catacomb under it. You know, it's just crazy, like, to think that this is over 1,000 years old. Your guys' thoughts below on this building.
This is the reason why the genius scientist Nikola Tesla was so obsessed with the number 369. He once said, "If you understand the wonder of the number 369, you will decipher the universe." To comprehend this, we need to acknowledge that humans did not invent mathematics. Rather, we discovered it as the governing law of the cosmos. It is the language of the universe. Below are the discoveries Tesla made. If you take one and double it, it becomes 2, 2 doubled is 4. 4 doubled is 8. 8 doubled is 16. The sum of 16 is 7. Double 7 is 14. The sum of 14 is 5. Double 5 is 10, and the sum of 10 is 1. And this pattern repeats infinitely without the occurrence of the number 369. Interestingly, when you double 3, it becomes 6, and when you double 6, it becomes 12. The sum of 12 is 3. These two numbers complement each other, with the number 9 being the highest independent entity. If 3 and 6 are considered negative and positive, then 9 is the superior entity governing the entire universe. Tesla stated that these three numbers exist in a higher dimensional space, dominating the three-dimensional world we inhabit. This is the reason why the genius scientist Nikola Tesla was so obsessed with the number 300.
Scientist Marco Rodin believes that 3, 6, and 9 represents a flux field, or a vector, from the third to the fourth dimension. So a vector is just the shape of energy an object like water takes when you pour it. Basically, it's an energy spiral in the third dimension, and 3, 6, and 9 are the vibrational frequencies in the subatomic field, known as the fourth dimension, that hold that vector of energy back together in the third dimension. So this image that you're seeing on your screen right now represents mathematical vortex as shown below. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8 are all green lines connected. This represents the form of the object in the physical world. But then the numbers 3, 6, and 9 hold the vibrational equivalence and hold it back into reality in third dimension.
Why is 3, 6, 9 the key to the universe? This is because the numbers 3, 6, and 9 create a vortex in the spiritual realm. And the numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 create a vortex in the physical realm. And this is all to do with vortex maths. 3 and 6 are a repetitive sequence until infinity. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 is also a repetitive sequence until infinity. And this is why people say there are infinite possibilities. Number 9 is the connector between the two sequences. It creates a bridge from the physical realm into the spiritual realm. And these sequence of numbers create an infinite sequence that essentially demonstrates how energy flows. They essentially create their own magnetic field of energy that is infinite. And because 3, 6, and 9 create a vortex into the spiritual realm, and 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 create a vortex into the physical realm, this is how the universe was birthed. This is how Earth and life were formed. And the universe is always expanding because this sequence of numbers never ends.
Do I believe it's how everything got created? No, but I do believe there's some significance to the pattern. I just keep hearing that Little John 369. You know, it's they try to send us off with that Little John. There's some significance to 369. You know, it's just we just gotta get that Little John out of our head. 369. Man, they tried to throw us off, didn't they?
So check out this thing called vortex mathematics, right? I'm gonna blow your mind. Check this out. So imagine we have these numbers in a circle here, and I'm gonna start with 1, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna keep multiplying by 2. So 1 times 2 will give me 2. 2 times 2 will give me 4. 4 times 2 will give me 8. 8 times 2 will give me 16. Now, what we're going to do is we want to keep reducing these things to single digits. We don't want anything that's more than a single digit. So what I'll do is I'll actually add the 6 and the 1, and that'll give me 7. Now we reach 16, right? 16 times 2 is 32. 32 reduced to a single digit will give me 5. Now 32 times 2 is 64. Remember, we're just going to keep multiplying by 2, right? 64, 6 and 4 is 10, and 1 and 0 is 1. So that means, look, we're going back to the 1. We complete the cycle. Now 64 times 2 gives us 128. 8, 9, 10, 11. So that gives us 11, and 1 is 2. We just keep adding until we reach back to a single digit. And you can see now we start back over the cycle and we're going back by 2. 128 times 2 is 256, right? 6 and 7 is 13. 3 and 1 is 4. So look, we're going back by the 4 there. 256 times 2, 512. So 512, as you can see, will boil down to 8 when you reduce it. 512 times 2 will give us 1024. So 1024, 4 and 2 is 6 and 1 is 7. We're going back by the 7 again. 1024 times 2 is 2048. So if we reduce 2048, we'll go back to the 5. 2048 times 2 is 4096, and that takes us back to the 1. And you can see we're just gonna keep going. As long as I keep multiplying by 2, 4096 times 2 is 8192. That will take us back to the 2, and it'll go back to the 4. We could keep going to infinity, and it will keep following this pattern, right? Now this pattern here, whilst it looks like an infinity sign, what it actually is, it's something like a sine wave. We're actually talking about the rhythm of numbers here, because once you start to talk about sine waves, you start to talk about frequencies. That means you start to talk about trigonometry. That means you start to talk about triangles, yeah? And anybody who know me knows triangles make up everything in the whole universe. They make up you, they make up me, they make up everything that exists. It's all about triangles, eh? You might want to ask, what's going on with the 9, the 6, and the 3? Because this 9, this 6, and this 3 not really doing anything. They kind of get left out. Well, no, they're not left out. It have something that's totally different and very, very special going on with that 9, 6, and 3. So you'll have to follow us to find out more, right?
This vortex math, I feel like is fascinating because you'll see some people that are human calculators. You give them any equation and they'll just quick analyze it in like 2 seconds and they'll give you the number. You know, I wonder if their mind is subconsciously running the vortex math behind scenes. You know, our minds are, I believe, way powerful than a calculator. You know, like probably 100 times powerful than a calculator. We just have to type into the right frequency to figure it out. And I feel like human calculators are able to tap into this frequency and figure out these math problems so quickly. Check this out.
I'll be performing some speed mental calculation. 46 plus
23
plus. I am a human calculator and I'll be performing some speed mental calculation. 46 plus
23
plus
89
plus
25
plus
14
plus
76
okay, one more number
plus 12
285. Okay, let's go on to some multiplication. Give me a 2-digit multiplied by a 2-digit.
45
times
29
1305. Okay, let's try division. Give me a 3-digit divided by 1-digit and try using odd numbers so that you get those decimal points at the back.
Yeah. Okay.
That's more fun.
589 divided by 7.
589 divided by 7. 84.1.
Let's say it together, okay? 84.1428571428.
$335 divided by 852.
Okay, that's hard. That's about 0.396 something, 395 or something.
0.39, you're correct.
Yeah.
Okay, next. 874 divided by 2.
874 divided by 2, 437. You pick harder numbers than 2.
Oh, he said harder numbers.
Oh, harder number than 2.
968 divided by 700. Oh, 7.
968 divided by 7, that's 138.285714. Yeah.
What? Let's do another one.
I mean, you can do stuff by like
685 divided by 9.
Oh, that's 76.111.
Wow.
I could just imagine their entire brain just swirling with activity, figuring that stuff out, processing. I could barely type that into a calculator and figure that out.
You got your calculator? I'm telling you, ask me any math question, I literally get it right. And if I don't, you get whatever you want for free.
What's 365 times 14?
365 times 14, 5,110.
Nah, bro, you ain't just do that off the top, bro.
Five.
I'm finna give you
I'm
another.
telling you.
I'm finna
Go
give
ahead.
you another. I'm finna give you another.
So what last time?
What's 69 times 654?
69 times 654?
Uh-huh.
45,126.
Hell no, bro.
I'm telling you.
Hell no. You ain't no damn human calculator, bro. You got me fucked up, bro. What you got going on? All right, one more.
One more question. Go ahead. I'm telling you, bro.
One more. This is the last one.
Like literally any math question. On top of my head. You see how fast I be coming up with it too?
I see you, bro. But I don't believe you. Hold on. I'm gonna give you one more.
Come on, I'm literally. Go ahead.
45 times 78.
45 times 78.
Yeah.
3,510.
Ooh, you cold with it, boy.
Yeah. I told you, I do this. Look. Hey. Hell yeah, he was right. You got your calculator? I'm telling you.
Hey, that was a good one, man. That was a good one. He got him.
I always remember every detail from my great memory. I always remember. I'm Stephen Wiltshire. I'm 48 years old, from Chelsea, and I draw cityscapes. I consider them done by memory. I draw buildings and peoples and street scenes. I started in a pencil, go over it in pen, and after that, and then sign it. I describe that my artwork is modern. My favorite drawing city is New York City. It's a beautiful place. Lots of skyscrapers, roses, lots of yellow taxi cabs. And I've been there many times. While I'm drawing, I listen to Motown, 80s hip-hop music. When they're completely done, I feel great and good. So I love being my best. I'm an artist.
Sometimes I look in her eyes and that's where I find my glimpse.
I feel great about it because now it's the first time I come to Mexico, and then because I have the good faith I'm love going to do my hard work of doing drawing of panorama for from a helicopter ride to remember rise by memories.
Me parece la maravilla de la mente, que tal vez no desarrollen otras capacidades, pero con esta muchos la quisiéramos. Y en 30 minutos, y uno que vive aquí muchísimos años no la conoce en su totalidad, ¿verdad? Él sí lo captó.
Yo, aunque sabía que hay diferentes grados de autismo, pero no tenía conocimiento de que fuera así, que hubiera personas con autismo y con memoria así fotográfica, ¿no? Entonces para mí se ha cambiado y creo que también para ellos están sumamente sorprendidos, gratamente sorprendidos.
I always remember every detail from my great memory. I always remember. I always remember every detail from my great memory. I always remember. I'm Stephen Wiltshire. I'm 48 years old from Chelsea, and I draw cityscapes. I consider them done by memory. I draw buildings and peoples and street scenes. I started in a pencil, go over it in pen, and after that and then sign it. I describe that my artwork is modern. My favorite drawing city is New York City. It's a beautiful place. Lots of skyscrapers and roads, lots of yellow taxi cabs, and I've been there many times. While I'm drawing, I listen to Motown, 80s hip-hop music. When they're completely done, I feel great and good. So I love being my best. I'm an artist. I always remember every detail from my great.
Stephen is an artist who creates incredibly intricate drawings of cityscapes, and he does this entirely from memory.
I love drawing tall buildings, tall skyscrapers, skylines, street scenes.
When Stephen was 3, he was diagnosed as autistic. He was completely mute and lived entirely in his own world. Stephen's teachers noticed he loved to draw. He had found his way to connect with others. Stephen has the ability to look at a subject once and then draw an accurate and detailed picture of it, including panoramas of entire cities based off just a quick look.
I go up on a helicopter and then memorize it, and then after being on a helicopter and then straight back at the hotel and then start to draw.
His incredible talent launched an artistic career that has taken him around the world, and Stephen has no plans of stopping anytime soon. Stephen is an artist who creates incredibly intricate drawing.
Detailed and intriguing images of cityscapes from around the world have made Stephen Wiltshire famous internationally. A selection of his work is on sale at his London gallery. A drawing by Stephen Wiltshire can cost anything between 1,700 and 200,000 euros.
I'm really satisfied for my work because I will like the way I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it my way.
Stephen Wiltshire is a born and bred Londoner, and the city is a constant source of inspiration to him. He sometimes takes photos of views that speak to him, but he draws and paints from memory.
It's just so beautiful out there because I can see the London Eye, and I see the half of our county hall and Hungerford footbridge and a bit of a medieval Royal Festival Hall.
Back in his studio, with the views still fresh in his mind, Stephen Wiltshire begins drawing Westminster Bridge.
I love doing some work and then I memorize it because it gives me a hard work and love my job. Sometimes I do some quick sketch of it and much for very natural, but not just going to be detailed this time because very bit of a quickie sketch.
A quickie sketch that is astonishingly detailed. A true-to-life snapshot of the world as the artist sees it.
I think the important stuff it means to have to concentrate and realize and to memorize it by my mind.
Stephen Wiltshire was diagnosed with autism when he was 3. He began drawing when he was 5. His talent was immediately obvious. He won a series of art competitions, went on to graduate from art school, and is now a celebrated artist and draftsman with an international reputation.
I think I might get better doing a drawing if I like it to do it. I must doing the best, and I'll never stop.
Stephen Wiltshire often takes helicopter trips over cities, storing what he sees in his memory and later recreating the view in the form of gigantic panoramas. Here in Mexico City, he spent several days on a panorama of the city, working in full view of the public. Around 100,000 people came to watch. Meanwhile, he's worked all over the world.
New York is my best place, and looked about many times, or about 8 times, I think. And I've been to Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong, and I've been to Tokyo, and some lots of places in there, and do some panoramas.
This summer, Stephen Wiltshire will be visiting Los Angeles, one more city to cross off his list.
Man, that messed me up. Man, autism is a superpower.
"11-year-old Jude Kofi initially went viral after discovering an old keyboard in his home and began playing fluently without any lessons. Piano tuner technician Bill Magnuson heard about Jude's story and was so moved he used part of his father's inheritance to simply gift Jude a brand new grand piano.
My first reaction was, this kid is Mozart level.
What is it about him that really speaks to you?
It's like looking at the face of God. It really is.
Bill also went ahead and found Jude a new piano teacher so Jude can finally receive some formal training and support he needs to grow as a pianist. In one final gesture of goodwill, Bill promised Jude's family he would tune the piano once a month for the rest of his life.
This is Daniel Temet, one of 50 people in the world with a rare condition called synesthesia, which gives him super genius abilities. When he thinks of numbers, he sees them as colors and shapes, and even sounds.
It's a very interesting experience. Number 2 is kind of like a movement, right to left, kind of like a drifting motion. 5 is like the clap of thunder or the sound of a wave against a rock.
He can speak 11 languages fluently. He can calculate the digits of pi in his head.
Sparks firing off. And 185, 567. Do you want me to stop or?
Synesthesia can occur when the different parts of your brain that process touch and hearing and taste and smell can interfere with each other.
What he's doing is moving mentally through a synesthetic landscape and effectively reading the numbers from the landscape.
Pythagoras said, if you're seeing 1111 or 444 or any repeat of certain numbers, what you're actually seeing is a manifestation of your vibrational alignment. Pythagoras said all is number and believed the universe was actually made of numbers. So oftentimes when you are starting to come into vibrational alignment with a specific desire you have, the first physical manifestation is continually seeing repeating numbers. It is a sign from the energetic field of creation that your inner work is having an effect on the outer environment. So when you notice the synchronization of numbers, simply affirm to yourself, I am aligned with the universe's divine timing and guidance. I am open to all signs that I am on the right path.
I wrote the letters out, one each, on a bead chain, in the order that they were written in the text. So you could literally hold out the bead chain and read the first verse of Genesis. And then I took the bead chain and curled it up on itself so that the same letters lined up. When we associated the letters slot A in tab A, tab B in slot B, etc., just like the paper pattern. And as you can see, all the letters are accounted for. They're all paired up. And if they're not paired with the same letter, like slot A and tab A and slot B and tab B, they're paired with letters that are in symmetrical positions in the alphabet. So there's a very basic, simple rule that enables all the letters of the first verse to be self-connected, just like the tabs and slots.
The reason I started it here, rather than on the edge someplace, is because I realized this was on the surface of a donut, which one could pull through. And I didn't want these lines to cross over in funny ways, so I simply rotated it through itself. But if it were on the surface of a donut, then that would all work as one unit. And so that's what the first verse of Genesis draws. It draws a kind of donut called a two-torus, a two-dimensional surface on a torus. So we've now identified the first verse of Genesis. It folds itself up into a donut. This is the bagel theory of reality. You just peel the 7-color map off of the donut, and you have a little vortex. Each other.
I wrote the letters out, one each, on a bead.
without any bulb to contain it. That's the creative force. This electrical monopolar field is how creation comes about. There is no evolution or any of that type of stuff. It's the electrical field at the time creates what exists, and it's always changing this way and that way. All living organisms are all based, just like all machines, are all based on the same mathematical function. All trees, plants, flowers, humans, everything's based on what's called the golden ratio. It's a definite geometric pattern, and all of these electrical discharges associated with these Tesla transformers are all golden ratio proportioned and tend to be self-organizing and self-powering. So that ends the story. 1 trillion.
Plants cannot manufacture minerals. The only minerals that you find in plants are those that are in the soil in which they're grown. Plants will take up minerals out of the soil. And the reason why we're in trouble in America is for the last 100 years we've used a simple fertilizer, NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, because it gives the farmer the maximum yield in terms of tons and bushels per acre. Nobody gives a farmer any type of tax incentive to make sure that you get all 60 essential minerals. It's your responsibility. Farmers only generate tons and bushels per acre. We know that it only takes 5 to 10 years to deplete the nutritional minerals out of our farm soils. And we've been using NPK for 100 years, so you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that there is a deficit there. U.S. Senate Document 264 says there's no longer any nutritional minerals left in our farm and range soils, and as a result, the crops that are grown there are minerally deficient. As a result, the animals and people who eat these minerally deficient crops get mineral deficiency diseases, and the only way to prevent and cure them is with mineral supplementation. In 1936, 60 years ago, this information was known. This is not yesterday's news. It's 60 years old.
But if you guys made it this far, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button, man. We're going to try to bring you out. I'm going to try to bring these boys out to you daily. If you made it this far, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and some words of encouragement really help your boy pump these boys out to you daily, man. As always, I'll see you guys around the same time tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of your day. Have a blessed one. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.